Tēnā koutou katoa, ngā mihi mahana ki a koutou, kei te miki a koe Chair Abby, he kara ki tātou, whakatakatea hau ki te uru, whakatakatea hau ki te tunga, kia mā kina ki Rita, kia mā taratara ki Tai, he ake ana te atakura, he tio, he huka, he hauhu, a tihei Māori ora.
Thank you. Well, welcome everyone to the August Golden Bay Community Board meeting. Do we have any apologies today? Oh, there's someone at the door. No, he's unwell. So yeah, no. So no apologies from everybody. Okay, so we have 10 minutes of public forum today, and we have Carl and Steve on behalf of the Mountain Bike Club. Yes, that's who we have.
All right.
Sorry, sorry, I haven't welcomed our staff member. I'll do that next. Jordan, you Jordan. Oh, and he is here, that's right. I said you'll bring him if you can. And you could bring him, so he's here. Excellent. Sorry, Jordan.
There's not quite enough handouts for everyone, but
We can share them.
some people have already seen them.
Some people have already seen them.
Yeah.
Julie's got one, I think.
What we could share.
Yeah.
Yeah, much. Still working at the same time.
As long as Roy gets right.
As long as
I pitch the copy. As long as Roy gets it.
Yeah, no, you leave. Yeah, no, sure. Cool.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Welcome.
yep, good. This is about the Golden Bay Skills Park, which has been kind of, I don't know when I last came to this meeting, but maybe 5 or 6 years ago, to kind of get it off the ground. Fonterra still own the land for now, but I think we're looking very close to the gifting or to TDC, so it's come a long way. I'm sure everyone's well aware of all of that. Yeah. So basically, coming along to recreate the vision and to try and make sure that we as a community still are fully involved with this project. So if you just have a look, I mean, there's still exactly where it is location-wise next to Fonterra. There's a concept plan which is still clearly just a concept plan. It's it's a rough demo of what we want. We wanted something to look pretty, but it's not exactly what we want. So we just want to, we want to form a group as a subcommittee, as a committee to get exactly what we want out of this park. So I mean, and then there's some fluffy pictures of parks with picnic tables and so it's really to create the vision of what we're kind of after there. I guess we're a little bit nervous that something will get built that we are not exactly wanting. It's been such a process. So years ago, when I kind of forwarded this idea, went to Mana Whenua, went to schools, went to community work centre, I went to local farmers for support. The whole idea was that we would run it as a community, and so I kind of want to, to get what the community wants. So I really want to kind of make sure that that's what we do. So that is a really big thing. What we want to do is put it as a branch of the Golden Bay Mountain Bike Club. The Golden Bay Mountain Bike Club, where are we? Oh, hang on. We want to form a subcommittee to the Golden Bay Mountain Bike Club. And we want to gather up other passionate community-minded people to be in that committee. The committee will be responsible for designing, getting funding, dealing with contractors, organising volunteer work, comms with local supporters. So this is how we see it, or would like to see it run. Why the Golden Bay Mountain Bike Club? It's a well-established club, has charitable trust status, has been is a incorporated society. It's fully behind the schools park. It's proven itself time again with, we've got big projects, the Pukekoringa Trail on top of the Taka Hill. We've had good relationships with DOC, building tracks in Canaan, Kill Devil upgrades, the Rameka Trail we look after. We run, last 15 years, we've run lots of mountain bike events. And we have a deep understanding of our youth needs due to our summer weekly rides and skill sessions that we do. So the club is really enthusiastic about this project, and so they're all on board with it. And potential, which potentially is out of our scope, but the potential of this park has a bit more, with, bike storage, station lockup, and e-bike charging facilities. It's done right, it can be a great start-stop bike for the Abel Tasman Drive cycleway. So it's quite a big scope of this, and we just want to make sure that we as a community are involved, and we're not kind of just get something that we just get something to keep, that's all we want really. So I guess we kind of want to up the ante and get involved.
Any questions? Are you finished and have questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Chris.
Thanks, Abby. I suppose there are lots of projects around the district that have been initiated out of the community, and but then have wanted council's support or resources in terms of money, expertise, planning, all those things.
Yeah.
So it is there is a balancing act, I think, around when you describe wanting to run it yourselves and design it and get the funding and things. And it's certainly a project that at the board level and Celia and I at a council level have supported and encouraged. So funding from the Better Off funding was set aside for it. So there were maybe 3 or 4 projects that we had a pot of money to put towards things, and this was certainly one of them. And I thought that money was still sitting there in the long-term plan. In terms of long-term plan, I thought there was still some money there.
Oh, it's good if there is.
Anyway, there'll be one thing for the board to find out about whether that is the case or not.
Oh, the money's gone, but the long-term plan money.
Yeah, no, that year's gone. So we had to. Anyway, it's a long story. It was related to Three Waters, but I think in the long-term plan there is still some money set aside for that.
Yeah. And
it's certainly on the reserves team's radar. So I think there's something about. I don't imagine our reserves people are going to be ahead and get something designed and produce it and say, "Oh, there you go, Tākeka, well done." That's not how they work. So, but it will be a working in. If that's where you're wanting. That's where you're wanting. And the other thing about it is that I think council have, been willing to say we'll take it on and look after it in terms of all those reserve maintenance things that need to happen. So I guess it's about how to have what the bay wants and working in, because that'll save you a whole lot of in different ways as well. So I guess not a question, but it's encouraging. It's good to hear what you're doing, and I know there's support on the other side for it. But my understanding around Fonterra was actually they'd changed and they were now looking at preferring a long-term lease. So there's just a few things the board might want to pick up and clarify where it's quite sitting in the system.
That's right.
Would be good to have on your subcommittee As Chris said, tight links with that reserve team. Maybe check in with Lynn Hall as to who she would.
It would be at another level.
Next level up.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, and I think that one of the reasons why it's taken so long has been that the shift in the funding moving around, but also I know that at the highest level in council almost have been working with Fonterra around that land and trying to secure it, and that's been a long process on the Fonterra side. So positive from council side, and good luck.
We're definitely keen to working with council. You know, I mean, and we have to. And you didn't mean to leave them out really, but
I just think that maybe one of the community board team or new board team, it would be a portfolio for them to also sit on that. Just so that we've got that connection.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, and so the process from now on is that after public forum, we discuss at our following meeting what we're going to actually do about what's being presented to us at public forum. So the board will, we won't decide right now, but it will be us communicating as a community board through to council.
okay.
I would just add that the thing is that it's in train over the hill at a higher level than the board, so it's just for the board to understand where things are sitting and what the next steps are, I think.
And we're just trying to say this is our vision, and that's what we're wanting. But we want to be involved at as many levels as we can, so that the community does get that. What they want, and so we'll be the community voice really for that. And we're happy to be there for that. We're in it for a long haul, so it's been a long
The
haul.
project started with Carl, really. I remember, I don't even want to know how many years ago we started.
Yeah, no,
it was a while.
We will.
I'm a little bit more regular.
It's really nice to get a positive, some really positive coming to the public forum. Thank you.
Great news. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you very much. Those handouts you can keep for your
I'll
own.
give one to Ro for is that all right?
Feel free to keep those.
She's got one. Now I'll do what I normally do, and I'll have a play around with the agenda because that's all it's fun for Ro. But I just note that we've got speakers here to speak to the discretionary fund, but we've also got Axel for his presentation. So if we do Axel, and then we'll shift the discretionary fund speakers up if that's okay, just so they're not sat here waiting. Great.
So who's going to advance the slides? Do I get a clicker?
You have a clicker.
You're the clicker.
Manual clicker.
Okay, so can I ask you to carefully watch my hand and advance the slides, because there's not just you know, from slide to slide, but they actually advance sometimes within the slide. Thank you for inviting me, Abby, or inviting us rather. My name is Axel Darnat-Wölke, and I'm here on behalf of Project STRIM. It's strengthening telecommunications resilience in Mohua. And our objective is quite simple. Technical difficulty. Oh, well, our objectives are simple in the sense that we would like to have reliable phones in an emergency. And in the very first instance, that means 111 calls. You know, if something happens and it's just the 111 calling ability that remains, that would be fine. it would be nice if you could actually talk to other people in the community via phone. And, that might be your neighbor. And so, for example, when the Alpine Fold goes, and we're probably all young enough to still experience that at some point, it's entirely important to be able to talk to your neighbors, to your community. I mean, I've lived through the Christchurch earthquakes. That is just so essential to have a good community connection. Poker. So when you make a 111 call, what actually happens? You talk to a Spark employee, and this person will put you through to either the police, and most of those calls do go to the police, or ambulance, or fire service. And the other thing that's of interest is that of all the calls to the 111 system that are being made, only a third of them are genuine, and the other 2/3 are either not an emergency or people, having a bit of fun or pocket dial or whatever it might be. So
You could just say, please, XLA. You just go, no.
We'll be the messenger.
Something simple.
So so what I'm talking about here are the genuine emergency calls, and so we set out to find out how many are there actually in Golden Bay, and it's like a state secret. Nobody wants to talk about it, and anyway, we use two different methodologies to estimate how many 111 calls there are, and they both come to the same result. And Richard in our group certainly had trouble believing it, but he came up with the second methodology, and it came out at there's 4 genuine calls per day being made to 111, so 1 every 6 hours. So that's quite a bit. And so when I got a message from Civil Defence this morning that the 111 system will be turned off for 90 minutes, on the 7th, that's a 15% chance that somebody will have to ring 111 and it doesn't work. And we don't think that's good enough. And there aren't just 111 calls that are being made in emergencies. There's people who ring the pharmacy, and so the pharmacists say, "Don't talk to us. Get yourself to the hospital," or they ring the hospital direct, or people have these media alarms, and none of that works when the phone system is down. So these alarm things do not work when telecommunications are down.
Did your research include the medical alarm calls?
Well,
No.
it's all state secret. Nobody will talk to you about numbers. So what we know is just the 111 calls.
Yeah.
It's 1 every 6 hours in Golden Bay. So if you make a call, what happens is, so if you use a cell phone, your cell phone talks to one of the cell phone towers, and these towers, they are owned by all sorts of different companies, Spark, Vodafone, 2 Degrees, or one New Zealand there these days. And so the towers are then connected via a fiber optic cable to a phone exchange. It does look a little bit more modern, these exchanges these days, in that particular photo. And so what happens is the people in the exchange or the system puts you through to whoever you want to call. That might be your neighbor or the Spark employee who takes your 111 call. And if you are on a landline, your call goes through a roadside cabinet and eventually uses the fiber optic network as well. And so in this context here, I wanted to just talk about one common misperception and that is these cell phone towers, they generally don't talk to one another, wirelessly. They are connected via a cable generally. So it doesn't really matter how many players we have in the market for, better, for competition or whatever. Everything relies on the fiber optic cable. And when that is out, nothing works. There is no comms. Not via landline, not via cell phone. So that brings me to the next state secret, and that is, what is actually the current status of the fiber network that is installed in New Zealand? And so this map on the left, you can probably make out the two main islands of New Zealand, and that map shows the fiber network as it was in 2020. And so, Golden Bay sits in that box there on the left, this little appendix, as it looks like. And so the local fiber network that we've got is there's a line running from Collingwood to Motueka, with a little spur off to Pohara, and that's a single line. And from Motueka to Richmond, there is two lines that are roughly parallel, and then there's a line that runs along State Highway 6 that goes through Nelson and then becomes an undersea cable and goes to Levin in the North Island. So if the line between Richmond and Motueka fails, doesn't matter. There's two of them, so they don't really lose comms. If the line between Richmond and Nelson fails, doesn't matter. It goes the other way around via Picton, Wellington, Levin, and comes to the Nelson Exchange that way. But if the line between Motueka and anywhere in Golden Bay fails, no comms. So our exchange that we use from here is in Nelson. It used to be in Takaka, right next door. So when the building was opened in the 70s, it's a photo of it. The building's still there. It's just empty. There's no equipment in it any longer. So if you talk to your neighbor by phone, that phone call goes through Nelson. If the line to Nelson is severed somewhere between here and Motueka, you will not be able to talk to the neighbor. So we looked at the overall, the countrywide network to see, surely we aren't the only ones who are in this predicament. And so looking at the West Coast, that was quite clearly a huge area. They had a big vulnerability because the loops, they meet at Stillwater, and from Stillwater there was a single line, one going up the country, one going down the country. So from Karamea to Fox Glacier. And so this, on the map on the left, you can see this big gap. So what we've found, so that is the 2020 map. What we found is that that gap from Fox Glacier to Wanaka has since been filled. That was built in 2022, and it was interestingly funded by the Crown. So the network belongs to Chorus, but that line was paid for by the Crown. Next slide, please. And the objective that this project had was to increase resilience. And that is exactly what we need as well. Next slide. So we thought, well, who else might be vulnerable? That maybe Northland, which includes the town of Kaitaia, at least according to the 2020 network map. Maybe they have built a second line that goes to Kaitaia. We don't know, state secret. Golden Bay, and there is Wiwaka, Kaiteri, Terry, and Marahau on that single line as well. And the northern west coast, which includes West Coast, they are still on a single line. And it seems that Golden Bay and those Abel Tasman holiday hotspots, on a population basis, that might be the most vulnerable community in the country for communication failures. Next slide. So, why don't we just go to Chorus and ask them, build us something that makes us more resilient? The answer from them will be, nah, not interested. They own the network, but they are these days a private company. They are responsible to their shareholders. They have to deliver a return on the investment. And that is why they didn't deliver the link over Haas Pass. That's why government had to fund that, and they won't be interested in funding anything here either. However, we do need resilience. I want to be able to call an ambulance when needed. So this is entirely a political question. This has got nothing to do with Chorus. They just won't be interested. Next one. So what we would like from you is support. Please report this to full council and ask for a technical investigation. What it is that could be done. We have some ideas, but we don't want to, come up and say this is what needs to be done. We would rather like to leave that to the experts and ask for Crown funding for something to be put in place. Not in 5 years' time. We'd like to see this happen a lot sooner. Thank you.
Does anyone are you happy to take some questions if anyone's got some?
We have David Melville here, so if your questions are of really technical nature, David will be able to answer everything.
What are some of the possible? Have you thought about what might be some of the possible?
Yeah. I mean, we've also bounced those off various people in the industry as well, just to get some feedback. One obvious one is to reinstate the microwave link, which used to be Takaka before the fibre was put in. So originally that was put in the 70s via a passive repeater in Takaka. And then it was replaced by a full repeated system through the Mount Campbell communications site. The towers for that are still in place in Melbourne Waterway. But there's no equipment for any capability at Mount Campbell at the moment. Other options that we've heard about, for example, we hear from Spark that they're looking at putting a backup satellite link into the cell phone towers, cell phone sites. So as we indicated earlier, currently they completely rely on the fibre network for communicating outside the area. If they have a satellite option, they could then communicate out of the area via satellite, and that's something Spark is already looking at. The other option would be to have some local switching capability put back into Takaka Exchange. The initial inquiries about that are that would be very difficult. It would require a physical switching mechanism, but more importantly, it would require all the numbering and data and signaling information to be housed here as well, independently, and that's very unlikely to happen. So we think, and in parallel with that, we've been looking at the overall current state of the network and how, even if we don't get an alternative link, how the existing fibre network could actually be made more reliable. There's various points of weakness in it that we've seen. But the key thing, I think, is diversity. And there's pros and cons of fibre, and there's pros and cons of radio, but if you have one of each, they complement each other. So a radio link is far less likely to get dug up than a digger. Fibre link is far less likely to get hit by lightning or get blown away. Something like that. So resiliency is about diversity, and it's about having options. And everyone talks about, oh, satellite's going to solve it all, don't worry about it, just wait. But that's actually going to take quite a while. You'll have Starlink, but until everybody's got Starlink, right, that'll call each other. Right, so another option would be to have maybe a Starlink public portal at Pahara and at Collingwood that people could go to. Maybe. But these are all ideas and options, but we really want the network people to come up with a best solution that they think is cost effective and reliable.
Chris.
Thanks, Evie. Really good presentation, and thank you for being front foot with us. You know what the requirements are that Chorus has in terms of the standards they need to supply? You know, taxpayers have paid a lot of money to Chorus over the years through these rollouts, and I just imagine there must be some standard that they need to meet for the government around, well, obviously how it works, but also probably coverage, but also, you know, is there anything in there around resilience, and does something sit with them?
When telecommunications were deregulated, they set up a service commitment obligation through the government share. And as far as I'm aware, that really still applies, but it's kind of been forgotten about it. But a lot of it was around the copper network and people moving off the copper network onto an internet-based service. So the key difference there is the copper network, the phones are powered from an exchange, internet-based, or other phones are plug in at your home. If you have a power outage, you lose your phone. So there's an obligation in there to maintain a basic phone service, particularly if you're a dependent person, like you have a dialysis requirement or whatever. But if you are a copper phone, you have some backup power system that will maintain your communications and things like that. So there's a fundamental obligation still there.
Yeah, and just an extra thing. So one of the things that has happened here, that's I just think is a beginning thing, was the portable Starlink unit that was purchased by Council for the Civil Defence, and I think that's something the board can pick up. Is that at the time I certainly spoke about, and others may have, around, you know, we need to have one out in Collingwood and somewhere else, and so, you know, as an intermediate sort of thing, there might, you know, I think there's things that the board can look into around.
The council and the use for the EOTC, don't they?
Yes, and the other thing too is to look into, you know, where the sat phones are. So there were satellite phones out in Collingwood, Bailey, and who has those, and they still exist. So this is different, but I think there's something for the board to pick up and move with, I think.
And I think it's important though that you know, if somebody's got a heart attack, for example, it's no bloody good if you have to drive 10 k's to get to your.
If you can't get out.
Well, it might be that or nothing.
To your Starlink side. The other thing, and this will probably come up when there's further discussions, is, you know, a microwave link has a lot less capacity than the current fiber. And as far as we are concerned, it doesn't matter, because, you know, technically how it goes is what goes through the fiber is all divvied up into different classes, and 111 calls being one class, and you can restrict it quite simply when you use the backup system to certain classes, however much capacity you have. So maybe you enable the 111 calls, any other calls, and maybe the FPOS network, and that's it. You know, and so it's no internet. So if people can't watch Netflix in an emergency at home, it's probably quite okay as far as we're concerned.
I wasn't suggesting this as an alternative. It's about something that can happen in the meantime, you know, because certainly I've been alerted to that during the events,
that was actually one of my questions, was about the bandwidth and how that works. But if there was a volcanic eruption, God help us, we wouldn't have satellite, I believe. because, you know, a volcanic cloud is going to stop any satellites. Am I correct?
I'm not familiar with volcanic eruptions specifically, but satellites, as with any technology, are vulnerable. So the satellite technology, for example, Starlink is in what we call KU band, and that's a frequency above 10 gigahertz, which is subject to rainfall, for example. The satellite technology is also subject to sunspot activity, which occurs around March, April every year. Terrestrial microwave tends to be in the C band, which is a lower frequency, 4 to 6 gigahertz, and that's less affected by atmosphere.
Yeah. So, and the relevance of that is the fiber could, for example, fail because there's a big rainstorm and something slips somewhere. And so the big rainstorm then A, cuts the fiber optic cable, and B, the rain fade makes satellite backup systems very, very weak. So that's again where we say, well, you know, it's good to have different systems that have different capabilities so that you actually have a backup system that works.
My other question along that was, why can't we put a cable across to Taranaki from Fairwell Spit, or as a fibre, or a cable down to Westport? That would help. I mean, to Caribbean, that would help them through the Heapy track. You're welcome, government. Maybe how much would it cost?
Well, the Levin Nelson was put in 2000, and that was 20 to 30 million.
Oh, okay.
And the main reason for that was it had to be buried the whole way because of fishing. It's about 80 kilometres from Nelson, around separation point into Bahara Beach or something like that. I would imagine the cost would not be too different. So it's not a cheap option.
Across to Taranaki would be about way out.
It's a lot further.
You could do it through the Heapy though.
Celia.
Yeah, just going back to the first thing about the Alpine Fold.
Yeah.
So, okay, talking about Mount Campbell and the tower up there, so that would be very susceptible to damage and earthquake, wouldn't it? So we have to, when we're planning this, we have to consider, you know, the safety of the actual installations and their resilience to earthquake. In that case, is there any alternative to Mount Campbell, or would there need to be two, you know, possibly two installations?
I would think that a good structural engineer, and I happen to know one, your brother, would probably come up with a design for a tower that, you know, just wobbles in an earthquake like a lens tile, and when it stops, it's all good. Towers would not necessarily be very vulnerable to earthquakes.
Right.
Is what I'm saying.
Yes,
So that's my limited structural engineering understanding.
Okay. So a new, you know, properly constructed tower would have to be part of this.
Yeah.
This, and from the word go.
Okay. Any further questions for Axel? Okay. Thank you so much for coming in and putting it clearly and explaining it for those of us without the understanding of the wiry bits. So that's great, and definitely something the board will be pursuing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. Right, as promised, I'm going to have a play round with the agenda. So I'm just going to pull discretionary funding and now, if that's okay. Do you want to do that, please? Okay, sorry, we'll do one thing first. Can I confirm the minutes, please, from the meeting on Monday, 23rd of June? Grant, seconded. Oh, I will. Morning. All in favour?
Aye.
Lovely. Oh, shall we do declarations of interest too? Are we here? Any declarations of interest on today's agenda?
Well, I'm the
Robert.
treasurer of the Golden Bay
Right.
Community Arts Council, so
Yeah.
that's very rare. So I'm just making you aware of that.
Robert. Yeah, thanks, Robert. Cool. So we'll move to our discretionary funding. requests, of which we had a lot. Where am I? Should we go to start with? Sorry, haven't said I'd do it.
Jumping down to discussion, I think.
Yeah, thanks. Okay. Here we go. Shall we start with Big Brothers Big Sisters? Is that first on my list? Welcome, Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Thank you. You're right. I'm Tracy from Over the Hill in Nelson, and Rochelle does all the hard work here in the Bay. Just to give you a little taster here, have a wee look at some of the great people in your community who already support our organisation by giving freely of their time. So here in Golden Bay, we've currently got 13 young people benefiting from a mentor, an adult mentor. Then at Golden Bay High School, we've got about 18 teens mentoring young people, and we've just identified a real issue at Collingwood Area School. They're very keen to start working with us. Our program outcome evaluations show some real benefits. Young people make friends better, they attend school more often, they get a different outlook in life. Young people are on our program for a whole variety of reasons, and they're reasons that are not their own fault. They may have an absent parent, they may have a high need sibling in the house, or they may be being raised by extended family or caregivers. We're in our 28th year of operation. It's a program that really works. We're the first and the biggest branch in New Zealand, but of course the pie of funding is getting smaller. We'd be really keen to work into Collingwood Area School. We have just identified one really great match. The funding we would be applying for would be to put together a resource box to go into the school, and also to support our mentors. Well, first of all, we need to attract them, and we have looking at putting an ad in the Golden Bay Weekly. So, you know, what goes around comes around, and the money will stay in the community. Yeah, and that's really, about all I've got to say. Anything I've missed?
Yeah, so going back to Collingwood Area School, I've just now got 2 student-based team mentors, and so they're mentoring sort of a year 7, year 8 match. So that's just started, which is really cool. I just want to use an example. I've got a student team at Collingwood Area School, and I said to him, why would you want to be a mentor? And he said, because he's really tall, and he goes, I want the little kids to know that I'm a safe person to go to and look up. And even though they are an area school, they don't tend to, a lot of them don't mix. Does that make sense? Yeah. So in order for this match that's just happened, it's just absolute gold, and those little kids can look up to the big kids, and they have that sort of sense of belonging. It's like, oh, I've got my big brother at school, I've got my big sister at school. So at Golden Bay High School, we've got 16 school-based teams with their littles, and at Collingwood Area School 2 student-based teams, and looking to grow that. So every year we would train up 10 year 11 student-based teams. So when they go into year 12, they'll mentor a year 7, year 8. And I mean, I'm from Golden Bay. I went to Golden Bay High School myself. I know how scary it is going from a little primary school and going into Golden Bay High School. You're like this little tiddly-pom again. And obviously back when I went to Golden Bay High School, all the teams had like uniforms and ties, and they just seemed like big grown up. So it's really nice having these years 7 and 8 start at Golden Bay High School and have that team to look up to. And as Tracy pointed out, it's so many different reasons that we have our children on the program, but all different walks of life. So yeah. And community-based 13, one of those is a school-based adult, which means that he goes into the school at Taka Primary School for an hour a week with this young boy, and they just hang out. They might kick the ball around, they might do baking, they might go on the pump track, and just board games, card games. For example, I've got a couple of matches at Golden Bay High School, and they're right into making slime and into doing paper mache, and they've both asked me to get PVA glue. So I went to get PVA glue this morning for them, and shave cream, and to get like a bottle of PVA glue that size for $19.
I'll find some over the hill.
Yeah, so no, actually, take note, and ordered me a 2-litre container of it, and for I think she's given me a 20% discount, which is amazing. They've been great with supporting for our ball games and stuff. So yeah.
Voice on Michelle, I'm pretty sure I know whose child that is.
Yeah, I know.
Which brings me to, I actually have a declaration of interest too.
Oh,
my girl is well supported by the program, so I'll get to step back for that. Sorry, after giving Robert grief. It's always the way.
So yeah, I mean, every little bit of money that comes in absolutely helps in such a huge way. And actually, this Wednesday we are having a mentor appreciation evening. So we've got our mentors coming along. We're going to the Muscle Inn and just buying some nibbles and just celebrating our mentors, our volunteers. They give up their time. And we've got Joe coming along from the Golden Bay Weekly to get some of their voices as well and celebrate that. So, yeah.
Anyone have any questions for brothers and sisters?
Not so much a question, but just a comment, and just to say that both my daughters were involved in it at school as big sisters, and they got a lot out of it. You know, they both really enjoyed it, and getting to know the young, and sort of, especially for my youngest daughter, who was always she was always the little sister, but she got to sort of be a big sister, and still has kept in touch with
And
her.
they had such a beautiful match.
Yeah, no, they really well.
They're
So,
so personal now. Well, they just both embraced their cultures together, and it was really cool.
Hi, it's great what you do, and it's a great program, and I'll be saying yes to funding, you know, for your application. And but I did one thing. I've got a therapist background, you know, and so a lot of that confidentiality in that world, and it always surprises me how there are photos of the people who are being supported, and
We have several
I
that
just
choose
got to
not
finish
to.
my
Oh,
yeah,
yes, sorry.
yeah. So I just always have this slight. I feel unnerved that I feel like they're a little exposed at saying actually here's someone who's needed some help from someone else, and they're too young. They can say, oh sure, I don't mind, but they're too young to be able to give a genuine approval to that. So I just want to let you know that I have that quiet discomfort, I suppose, around how that can seem or look.
Yeah,
and I know that the range of reasons that people, you know, young kids and young people get that support. It's a whole range of different things. It might be from a big family and don't get, you know,
totally.
quite. So, but it doesn't always come across, you know, it can come across thinking like there's, I don't know, maybe something more serious happening in their lives. So
Yeah.
I suppose I just want to let you know that.
Yeah,
But great what you're doing.
Yeah, and I just want to talk to that. Like, there is a massive process with obviously getting our volunteer mentors and also our young people. Is we have to sign photo permission. Even if they get photo permission, if I put something on Facebook, I always ring up the caregiver and say, hey, we're going to put it up with CJ and Sophia. Are you okay with this? Even though they've already given permission, I just like to double check, because we are a small community, and I don't want people to think that just because your child's on the Big Brother program that they're there because there's a problem, because it's not. It's all about that one-on-one time. Just having that precious one-on-one time, and as you said, like, it could come from a family of, you know, so
it might be something just to keep emphasising when when you do publish photos.
Yeah,
just
An
reminding
aging
people.
stage, we find, you know, we get to teenagers who go 11, 12, they go, I don't want to be
No.
published. You know, so
thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Yeah, really good feedback.
Great, thanks so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we going to do these individually or?
Oh, we'll just do the presentation for them to do. Oh, do you want to
I was
vote
going to
now?
second what?
Yeah, we
I
can
thought
do
you
it.
first.
No, I just let
Oh,
these
okay.
folk know I'd be supporting
Right,
the
okay.
funding they want.
Yeah,
That's
so
all.
we'll just
Yeah.
so that we're not taking up
That's fine.
too much of their day. We have also the Arts Council. Do we have someone here from the Arts Council? No, excellent. Village Theatre? Yep. Oh, excellent.
I'm Elaine, and I'm part of the committee of the Village Theatre. I'm coming here because Paul, I think he's corresponding with you, is away at the moment, so I've sort of stepped in, so forgive me if I'm not completely got my little notes up to date with everything. What we're asking for is we've got 2 laptops, 2 computers, 1 laptop and 1 desktop, and they're now too old to be upgraded to Windows 11. So they're part of the general operations. The one is in the lobby, which operates the projector during the shows, and the other one is in Fiona's manager's room, and she does all the payments and orders all the films, and is integral, obviously, to have Berta needs to run. The upgrade is needed to stay supportable. It's mandatory rather than a nice to have, and it's needed in the 4th quarter of this year. We've been to Zentech to get a quote for how much that's going to cost. It's going to cost $4,500. We've got grants in to various sources to try and cover that cost. TDC Creative Communities have yet to get in touch with us, so we're still waiting to hear if we've got any money coming from them. I'm not sure if you're aware, but the Village Theatre runs on a kind of an oily rag, and it pretty much we go hand to mouth, month to month, and obviously winter being our very low revenue time. And when anything happens like this out of the projection for the year, we just don't have any money to actually fund anything other than day to day and running costs. So we're here a little bit now, cap in hand, to ask for some money towards the help to upgrade the computer. Yeah, pretty much it. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, Celia.
Yeah, do you get, they offering you new source of computer?
No, they're going to upgrade what we've already got, so replace the memory, or they're not computer person, but basically so they can upgrade. They just won't. They just, yeah, they're just not. They're too old to be. Or anything that.
Right, but they're not actually new ones.
No.
And that's clearly cheaper than buying new ones to do that.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong, it's like if someone knows what they're thinking, there's nothing wrong with the computer, it's just that they won't accept the upgrade
It's the
anymore.
scan, isn't it?
And it's very frustrating, and we tried to look around it, but with the two computers they needed to run the support system of the theatre. There's no way you can't operate without them, basically.
I have wondered, just as a general thing, because I know Te Whare Mahana their computers they're going to struggle, and then they came out of the arc, I think. But I do wonder about what's available within the wider council organisation. I think things have tightened up quite a lot, but I have wondered around. There's any upgrades that we do over there that would free up old computers that aren't as old, or some of the antiquated things in our community. So we could ask the question, couldn't we?
Yeah. I mean, the one in the lobby is purely, literally connected to the projector, and how it's teed up. So that's all it's used for, literally, just to press the button to allow the the interval and film to start and stop. So it doesn't need to be anything super grunty, but it just needs to be upgraded.
Yeah.
So that's the frustrating part about it.
Great what you all do. We love the theatre.
Yeah,
such a treasure. It's one of the iconic things in Golden Bay, and I'll certainly be supporting.
Thank you. Yeah, it's
you all.
I mean, we love we're there on the committee because we feel very passionate about the film and about the community having that support system. We really get a lot out of it. So yeah, we just keep chipping away, playing what we can. So yeah.
Right.
Excellent. Any more questions for Elaine?
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Thanks. And Dot is here too. Hi, Dot. And if you remember, Dot's application was left to lie on the table from our last meeting. We had some questions regarding what was the money match? Yeah, we just weren't quite entirely sure, Dot. None of us are bowlers, so.
Well, it's because it's our 75th year of our club, and we wanted to celebrate it. We're only a very small club, and so we were just looking at different ideas to do this. We've got a very, very generous local community that have given us items, vouchers and that sort of thing for spot prizes. Every week we give out 2 or 3 spot prizes, just random names, people that are there. We give out a pen to every visitor that comes along every week, generously given by other people as well. And the money match, which I know you probably won't support anyway because we've already financed that at this stage, but it's we have little dots on the carpet on the mats that we have. We have 3 mats there, and we might have 5 on each mat, and the people have to bowl up, and if it sits on that spot, it gets the money amount that I've already assigned.
None of us were even close, Dot.
Oh, okay. What did you think it was?
Well,
Well, it's really it was just to help people with their skill, just see how well they bowled, get to where it is, but a lot of fun too, because the money is a different number each month. Sorry, we do it every month rather than each week, and and that's just to encourage people to come along and have a bit of fun, really. And it's really quite amusing. They have a couple of bowls each, and they just work around each mat until all the little dots are gone, all the numbers are taken, and then we get them on to playing some other fun games of bowls, obviously. So really, it's just helping with that. And the money that we are looking for is to help really with the catering of a finger food supper type thing on the final night, which now may be brought forward to the last Wednesday of September rather than October, just to encourage people to come along and have fun and celebrate that with us, really. We're as I say, a very small club. I didn't know I'd have to make a presentation like this, so if there's any other questions.
Any questions for Dot? That's much clearer. So
sorry,
that
confused you.
Totally fine. So the money would be for the catering?
Yes, it's for the catering, and there's a quote on that attached to that, and I don't think it included any juice and fizz or anything like that, just the food, but whatever.
Okay, thanks so much, Dot. Really appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now I'm lost. I've lost myself. Where are we? Right, decision making on the. Oh, on the. Yes, of course, we need to say yes. Okay. Brother, big sister?
Yes,
Yes, good. Everybody happy? Yes, good. Village Theatre?
yes.
Yes. Nice, good. Everybody happy?
Yep.
Oh, I shouldn't have said yes for Brother Big Sister.
You didn't.
I didn't. Didn't.
The conversation was
It's so bad today, honestly. What am I like? Arts Council. Now you had a question for them, didn't you? Was that last? Did that come into the last lot, or was this a new one?
So I did have a question for them.
So I feel like it was. Oh, hang on. Did we not discuss it in Collingwood? Yellow, something yellow. And the grant you wanted to ask? No, maybe I'm imagining things. Where's the action? No, maybe I'm imagining things.
I don't recall it.
Okay. Wasn't there? No, okay, ignore me. Good.
There may have been.
Oh, sure she can. Yeah. Sorry. I think I am too. Okay. Any questions, comments on the Arts Council request?
We've got anyone here to present it. No, that's all right. No, and I support this. I think it's very important.
Yeah.
I was going to ask about they are specifically wanting the money for the young at heart, is that right? Are we?
Yes, so.
I'm really keen to fund the young at heart.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
That is what it's for, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clear.
Something will be used.
Everybody happy with that one?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Right. I can't answer.
Oh, you can't. I would have ignored you anyway, because I'm on to it today.
I'm not answering you, Abby.
And should we do the Rockville one as well? So the Rockville and the bowling club, so the money would be catering for the finger food on their final night.
I don't support that. So we've made other decisions in the past around providing the money for food for the RSA.
Yeah, we did, and we said no.
That's right.
I mean, we can, but
I'm
we
still
can't.
going.
And I might.
I haven't finished.
Sorry.
Yeah, and the Arts Council as well. I think there was something in the past around part of the application being for food. So I'd like us to stick to that. If I think about a really small bowling club, it's great what they do, but I think, they are, it's gone on for a long time in this community that you turn up with a plate of food, and I don't know, I just encourage people to go back to doing that if clubs and organisations here, and I don't think it's the best use of ratepayer money to be given to small clubs to buy the food.
I
So I'll be a
tend to
no.
agree. I agree, and if it's a small club, $500 is quite a lot for food.
That
Yeah.
was my question. Actually, $500, yeah, is a lot of food. That's
And-
$5,000.
The quote was only for about 470, I think. 475. But I agree with you, Chris.
Just
We've
consistency.
done, yeah, we said no to the RSA in
We did say,
Collingwood, so that's why we're comfortable about it.
yeah, I imagine Joe recording that.
With the Arts Council, just going back to it, then we're happy good as long as they don't spend it on food. We make it specific.
We've said that in the past too, for something, haven't we? We've said that we don't, where there's been a number of things I've asked for the money for, which has included food, and we have said specifically the items that we are funding.
So
for that,
I'm not sure what they are in this particular case, because I have seen the budget. We read the budget's a separate document. That is publicly confidential. So I'm just not sure.
Oh, I think we still grant it and just say this is not to for, not to be used for.
We're not asking.
No.
We'll make it clear we're not giving it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, please. If we could just include in the, thank you. Not the catering factor, which is okay, is everybody happy with all of those? I'll have to move. Oh, we come to it already, didn't we?
And just to follow up, we will explain.
And before Friday, we get these people over before Friday. Otherwise Joe's going to beat us to it.
I'll move it. Move a second. Right, all those in favour? Oh, can I move it? No, I can't.
No,
No, I
you
can't.
can't.
No,
I'll move
you
it.
can't.
I'll move it.
We're out again. Cute.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rose. Good catching. Lovely. All right, so where am I now? Confirm the minutes, no late items, done the presentation, done the discussion, board report. Is that right? Yes. Good. Correct.
Maybe in the future, we can just change the whole agenda around a little bit. Put the discretionary funding.
Yeah, I just think
Earlier. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
If they're going to speak, if we're going to request them to come and speak, then I think we need to make it so they're not sitting waiting. But then actually booked in for presentation, so.
So straight after presentations.
Yeah. Board updates, during public forum, no action required. A little bit in there about recent flooding events. And I've suggested that the future board, whoever they may be, may wish to extend the invitation to sort of events local controller to staff. I think that would be a useful thing for the new board. Chris?
I mean, I have debriefs, of course, after these events, and I don't know whether, a more formal report is produced, but I think it's almost like the board sort of absent in a way, I think, in during these events, other than if any of us are just posting personally, reposting things and passing on information and hearing from people that are wanting to let us know about things. I think there's something in that whole scheme around the board understanding more fully how that system works. I've brought this up, I think, every year I've been here, but we hear about when EOC has been stood up over the hill, but this is a communication thing since Sarah left. So when she was the controller, she would put comms out to the bay that were just bay specific, and then when she left, that stopped, and there was a conversation around. Anyway, someone here might do that. But, and I know that over the hill, they just want this consolidated, completely understandably, that there's this, the messages that are going out are very ordered, very informed, you know, and very thought about what to present and when. But often we don't hear about that our little EOC here is on standby, or it's been stood up, or the Fast Water Rescue team are here, the geotech people are here, and the urban search and rescue people from Christchurch are here, or extra fins are here. Like a lot of different people get sent in here prior to the events when they look like, holy Toledo, this is going to go off. And it's, I let people know about it through my Facebook posts, but I think there's a role for the board to get itself much more informed about how the system works. What would be the board's role in it?
Yeah, but Sarah was good. Sorry, Sarah was good at that. She came to our meeting. She said, this is what I would like from the board.
Yeah, so the
very good.
Board needs to get good at something in it, I think. And it might be that if there's a formal briefing report that's produced after the events, that there's a, you know, the board gets in relationship with that mob and gets to see, you know, gets presented with that report, or have someone come in and, yeah, you know, the controller come in and do a presentation or something.
And maybe even a workshop, like you say, so the board could say, what can we do? What can we?
Yeah, what's the board's role? And the other thing is, I was in communication with our hydro team over the hill about a number of things during and shortly afterwards, and that technical report's still getting pulled together. Incredibly interesting, like the amount of detail is pretty phenomenal. But, you know, so I was approached up the road about, the dam, Mana will let the dam go on the night of the event. And so I looked into whether that had actually happened and had a good conversation with Matt McLaren.
Yes.
And he had enough data at that stage to be able to let me know what had actually happened. And I have made a post about that, and those that follow me or whatever, you know, would hear about it. But you know, that I think there's a place for, and then there was a post that came out from council that as a result, I think, of those discussions, explaining what had happened and some of the detail of the sort of you know, the amount of water that fell in the Upper Takaka. And we had a very good presentation at council last week from is it Martin, that's the head of hydrology, and also Jamie about roading. And while we don't want to, you know, they shouldn't have to repeat those to us, but I think that there's much more the board could be doing, I think, around letting people know those presentations are coming up, or put out a post, here's a link to them. Pretty interesting. And one of the things I didn't understand was how the relationship between council and the dam, and what determines whether the dam empties its reservoir a bit to, you know, generate a bit more freeboard. And that's, I doubt there's anything in their conditions that determine that. But Matt said that they have a conversation with them. So prior to the first event, they had the conversation, and the dam was whatever, I don't know how full it was, but they did let water go. They've got a limited amount of water they can let go because their valves let them, they can go 7,000 litres a second, and that's all that can go out of it. So there's something, but they did lower it enough to take what was coming. And then it was like, well, that didn't happen again between then and the next event. And I haven't been able, I just thought, well, how come that didn't happen? And Martin explained that one of the things that was really unexpected in that second event was that where the wind was coming from,
oh, that's right,
orientated really unusually to something they've never really seen, and started sending it across the hill, across Rewaka, and straight into Upper Takaka. And that's what those numbers represent, the highest levels up there for a long time, and just dumped it all over the dam in Upper Takaka. So that's how come the dam thought it had enough, but then something quite unusual happened. So I just think we could do more around, you know, I don't know, I just still think that the board needs to have it's for the new board, but, you know, should have Facebook presence and be able to make sure all this information goes out to the community.
Chris, was that a full council meeting reports? And were they actual? I didn't read. I read
The presentations.
So were presentations.
But they're PowerPoint. There are PowerPoints with them.
Okay. I wonder if in the future we can get those.
I thought I saw one on Big Tin Can.
Well, whoever's on the council will
It's
probably
on
get
Big
it.
Tin Can.
It's on Big Tin
It is,
Can.
yeah.
There's all
It's on
Yeah.
the,
I mean, you
it's on
just-
the agenda.
Yeah.
But actually did that
But the
presentation,
presentations will actually.
but you can listen to you YouTube.
Just go and look at the
Yeah.
recording.
The
Yeah.
recording.
Pretty
But
interesting.
it's worth listening to,
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
it was very interesting.
Sorry, Chris, you didn't finish.
Oh no, just that, I think I had.
Kim, did you want to update on the impacts to the council's work? or-
Yeah, just want to say, obviously, there's a lot over the stand up around the emergency operations centre, the stand up, and that draws a certain number of staff across council trained into that space. From my group, for instance, we had 4 folk who were called into that, but they're supported by a bunch of staff who are also basically sort of activated into an expanded BAU role. So while some are drawn into the centre, there's still a lot going on. The Harbour Master, for instance, is very active in terms of this. A lot of the material went out to sea, so he's immediately deploying, gathering all the intel and some of the stuff that's out there, getting the other occupier or commercial operators to sort of do what they can to bring in some of this material that shouldn't be at sea at all, that's come out through the rivers. Likewise, our building team are being deployed to go and have a look at all of the status of the different houses and stickers and things come out of that. They're not part of the core centre. And what this means for us is that during these events, a lot of activity that would otherwise be doing a more planned work is drawn into come together to help the district overcome what it's faced. So there's a lot of, repercussions for us. As time goes on, there's a lot of expenditures gone out, not only in the name of the actual response, but also basically in this frame of recovery. And also we're having to make a lot of decisions on not so much on the ground, because there wasn't a lot of ground there, but on the side of the banks as to, what can be done to correct various things. And at the same time, we're getting intelligence from people saying, well, the only reason I got this impact is because, over there this happened and I didn't think much of it at the time. Now I think that they shouldn't have done that. And so there's investigations going on. So I guess the main thing to say is that this is a very disruptive, time for those staff who are involved in these sort of frontline type responses. And you'll never get, while we're getting the hydrographic sort of picture and the impacts of the road, you'll never get the full story. That because there's no sort of one place where this sort of stuff is captured. I guess I just wanted to tilt my hat to those that have been, deployed at this time, and I know the hours and the work that people are putting out. Some of it's, it's above the line, and you get to hear about it and see what's going on, but a lot of it's actually outside our mind. But I guess just something that's the staff across the council is truly.
Absolutely.
I think it would be good to see if Marty Doyle would do just present something short to the board about how the parts of the presentation that he did to council, the parts that actually affect Golden Bay, because he spoke specifically about the atmospheric river, that unusual warm northeaster air that hit the mountain and came up and over and down into east Upper Takaka. So that would be a proposal that I'd have. And the other thing is that I just saw in the weekly, in this current weekly, the press release about evacuation plans for Takaka, and it all fits in with just getting more information about who does what. But the press release actually said that for a formal evacuation plan for Takaka started several months ago, and this will identify evacuation centres So I reiterate what Chris is saying, and I think that the community board needs to be much more involved in this type of thing. So that would be another thing that I think that we can formally put forward, our request for engagement about this process of a formal evacuation plan and who's putting it together and how it's, what it comes to be. So that's, I've got two proposals there.
With the presentation we just got to work out who would be the best, who would be the best person to do it. So when I was talking to Matt, he was saying he'd be, once the technical summary is produced, he'd be happy to come in and talk to the board, so they could just work out over there.
And it would be a request to the department, wouldn't it?
Yeah, about who would produce.
Yeah. So Marty's the head of that. So
and Matt's, I think, putting the technical summary together, which he said is quite close. Yeah. 80,000 hours went into those events.
89.
Extraordinary.
It's
People from all around the country came in. I was a bit puzzled about this thing about, evacuation centres aren't known. I just don't get that. So the recreation centre is our main evac point, and that's why the generator's up there. If it's set up for it.
Yes,
The Marae has been identified as one, and it's got a container of stuff out the back that was purchased through whatever that funding stream was around Marae or other centres getting here. The halls out the other way, they all know. So the sort of strange, because I know that was from a council media release. So it was just a little odd to me that people were going, how come people don't know where the evac centres are? I think, I wasn't in the bay at the time, but I thought, don't say where I was, but I thought Cassidy's Corner was out and Bridges Hollow, and that's why people went to the hall.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get why people were going, we don't know what's wrong.
Oh, I think the problem was that when the door knock came and they said evacuate to the high school, they hadn't quite turned the lights on at the high school.
Yes.
So the people got there and went, there's no one here. I don't know where to go. I think there was this, the door knockers were just a bit faster than the set of rappers.
Okay.
I just think that, sorry to be cut in, but I feel that we need to be involved. If somebody is working on a formal evacuation plan, the community board need to be involved, and whether or not we do all know where to go, we need to actually be part of that process. That's
absolutely.
And that's for the township, isn't it? I was talking about evacuating the township, eh?
Yes.
Because all those community plans are rolling out, and
need to hear about those too.
Some settlements are quite organised.
Yeah, Tata and Logan are very organised.
Your mob's very organised. And there's one coming up soon, a meeting out at Bainham Hall, I think, for that community.
Would be good. Excellent. Any other? No, Tāwhika Village Green. Some question. Comment.
Well, I appreciate, Kim, that you went away from the last meeting we had here and the conversations around, surely we can do better than this. So you're going to leaf around actually what is the status of the land, and the email you sent to me, which I think I forwarded to the board, was very, very helpful. And we must better shift into a different approach.
Yeah.
And you might have seen that maybe it was Nelson App that did the Facebook post about that meeting, and been a lot of comments from Golden Bay people about that.
Yep.
The public liability insurance is a concern. I can't imagine too many little groups of that.
I don't know if it means for little groups. I mean, I can't imagine half a dozen 7-year-olds doing a thing.
Oh, no, that's on. Yes.
Is what they actually mean.
Yeah,
I
well,
really
that's
don't.
what I was hoping to clarify.
Usually it's $1 million, but council asked for $2 million.
Yes.
So yeah. can't imagine.
This is a red herring.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure, yeah. But Lynn is on, if we could check in with Lynn. Hi,
Yeah.
Lynn.
Hi, Yora. With regard to public liability, generally, like a commercial activity would require that. It's the same as we have with contractors. It's just if they damage the reserve or cause an incident for the public, that they are covered. So if we have the regular vegetable stall, fruit and veg stall, then they might look into having to have public liability insurance.
But not so much for fundraising groups of children.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
Also, I
Should we come back to you?
yeah, come back.
There'd have to be some exceptions to this,
Yeah.
surely, because the vegetable people carry vegetables onto the green, they put up a pergola, and then they take it all away again, like they haven't sold. Like, this is where we get a lot of flack as a council for the bureaucracy that makes no sense. So I would want to think that there's some marrying up of risk to, some risk range around. Surely we had a fundraiser for Gaza on the village green. A lot of people on there raised some money, stuff and pergolas. Does that group need to have some insurance? I'd like us to push further into this and just, there must be some room for exceptions for community fundraising groups.
Well, I'd sorry, I hope I can speak to this through the chair, please. I think community groups and one-offs is not necessary. It's just the regular ongoing commercial activity that is going to be required for. They're running a business, so effectively they're at work, they're working, so they fall in a way under all of the WorkSafe rules and regs. So it's just a standard thing that we have for our contractors. All have to have public liability insurance. So I just think in this instance needs to be considered, but absolutely not for one-offs. That's not the intention of this at all. We would like to see the reserve booked through the booking system. But other than that, I think it's really just a regular commercial activity that this would apply to.
So that'd be those people that would tend to be there in the summer selling sunglasses and hats. They buy them all from Bali and come and, the folk turn up with their station wagons and hang out with each other and sell vegan cheesecakes.
I guess potentially this is something that we went through with the Village Green Society because they were managing the stallholders and they looked, it was a bit ad hoc what was going on there. It was inherited from, way back when the Village Green was purchased. But as the managers of that site, they should have had public liability insurance. And for TDC, because we are, I guess, we're not, we don't really want to be in a position of managing these, but it's appearing to become that way by default. So there's going to be no charge up until, we'll just see how it goes up until the end of October with no charge to the stall holders, whereas the Village Green Society used to charge, I think, $20 per stall, whereas we won't be doing that because it's actually quite difficult for us to manage.
The thing is that this indemnity insurance just gets us back to square one on the Snakes and Ladders board of, we're trying to keep just that really simple, low-key little community buzz going on the Village Green, hardly ever, every now and then, and then we go and hit up around indemnity insurance, and it's like, oh well, people won't go there. The vegetable stall will go and where they've been, and they'll find somewhere else, and so we're just cutting across the whole original conversation of let's keep a little bit of vibrancy in there. So whatever council can do to, I'm interested, Lynn, about the thing of the society would have been responsible for who was using it, so they need to have some. So how come if we're responsible, we can't provide ours?
Yeah, might be a conflict of interest, but you know, as the person who runs the village market, I have to have it, not all my stallholders. So it's the same sort of thing.
And we have oodles.
Yeah,
we've got plenty of bandwidth around indemnity insurance. I bet.
Could that be an option, Lynn? Could we use the council insurance?
Potentially, but then we get into a position of being responsible for their activities, which we will in a way through the booking system. So we need to make sure that whatever they do is very, very safe for the public. And yes, it's only a little you know, canvas pagoda, but you know, if it were to get caught by the wind and it flicks out and pokes somebody's eyes out, then who is responsible?
Especially into a car. Excellent. Yeah, no, there's plenty of that. I would really strongly expect people would book, and not just the stallholders, but anyone having an event or anything, so that we have got some comeback. I think that's actually really important, that every organisation who does something, and every single stallholder book. And if you haven't booked, but who's going to actually go down and police it every Friday? That's the other question, because it's only on Fridays, and where are the rules going to be?
Well, I guess that's the question. We're not really going to have any control over it. It's just going to become a bit of a free for all.
Yeah.
So there's nothing, you know, if we use a system, there's nothing to stop 10 people setting up a little coffee making machines, or you know, selling cakes and biscuits without perhaps correct food licensing, you know, tickets. So yeah, it's just potentially it becomes a little bit complicated.
Well, I'd love us to uncomplicate it, and it's helpful that we have a full-time staff person over here now that wears a high-vis vest, and it wouldn't be difficult to maybe, I don't know, there'll be a whole scope of role issue with that, but I think that you know, if we're going to take the bookings and we can't manage it, we've got staff here in Takaka, and I just think we're working really hard to make this difficult, and there'll be some really simple solutions to roles here in the office somehow to pop over and check or notice or.
Sorry, Jasmine. Yeah, look, I think that we have to have regard for the fact that this particular business has been there with no problems for a long time, and so I think that to suddenly turn around and say just because there has been a little change in administration, it's now going to make it much more difficult and more expensive for them to be there. I mean, the purpose, we want the village green to be used, and so the purpose of the village green is fulfilled through this little repeat business being there. It's not like we're talking about somebody new. They've actually already been there, and I think we have to have regard to that.
Through the chair, originally it was only on Fridays because a lot of the town said no, they didn't want commercial activities coming in and just being on the village green every day of the week, and they wanted it to be free for people to sit and not get bombarded by commercial activities. They made the exception to the business that's there, and any other business that was growing local produce organically, That was the criteria. Local supplying
Was it
local
organic?
organic produce. That was the only criteria. So it had to be within that. So they're the only ones who actually took up the took it up. But that was the original rule. And the Friday rule, well, that's been a Friday rule forever.
But it's all changed now.
Yeah, but I would think it's really important that we get our those kind of parameters sorted out before anything else.
So we're going to say you can sell your vegetables, but not growing them organically. But they're local.
No, only if, organic and local is what the original criteria was.
Couldn't make it up. Couldn't make it up.
Continue with the original criteria.
No.
Maybe not.
No.
But that's only for Wednesdays, not for the Fridays. They had to push for that. They worked really hard to get that happening.
Well, that's gone now because people can just book it and tick the little tick box.
But
and
only on a
away they go.
Friday, hopefully.
No,
Well, that's why
anytime.
I don't want to see that any time. I want to go there. There's no commercial activity and sit and enjoy it.
I agree.
Sorry, it's just not.
Yeah, no. So Lynn, is that an option to restrict trading commercial activity of 1 day a week?
I don't know the answer to that. It's something I'd have to speak with Grant about. It's how we define the parameters of what can occur and what can't, and it would have to be a fairly formal decision, I would imagine.
Yeah. It would sit with council, wouldn't it, not board?
Potentially, yes.
Get a resolution to this.
Can we I think we do.
Any thoughts?
Save us from
So many
ourselves.
thoughts. He's like, oh, I've got so many. What would be a good way forward to solve this?
Well, there's a couple of things we talked about there. One is that can we put some restrictions around this booking? And then secondly, can we actually have the staff that are based in the office here have some role in assessing whether, business is being conducted appropriately. So I think both of those things are discussions. So those would be two things that I take out of this to say we haven't got there yet. We want to get somewhere where you're not there, I think.
Yeah.
But and those are two things that need to be assessed because obviously there's resourcing and there's system requirements at play there.
Thought, and then it's under the local government, which community boards sit under local government. Parks and reserves can be under the control of the board. No, it is actually within the community board remit under the local government act.
I was wondering if the board would like to take it on. It's
Big move, nice big move there.
Yeah.
It's great, isn't it? Bring up the big guns.
Like, could we get some insurance? If they can't use the council, I mean, if it.
I think it's a council, wouldn't it?
We'll just get some advice on that, can't we? I think you're right, Celia. Good on you. Yeah.
It would be
Could it come to the board for
good to see it continue.
Because it's a whole variety of things like there's buskers that might just randomly turn up any day of the week and play the bagpipes, or an event, fundraisers, that type of and how about the Mardi Gras that used to happen that could come back, or another type of event that sort of size? Well, who manages that? That used to be the society, but do we look at something with 400 people on the green, all dancing till midnight? Time restrictions of music, that kind of thing. That was quite a big thing.
So maybe the board's going to assert its delegation ability here.
I think so.
So we're looking for advice, really, aren't we? Lovely.
Yeah.
There we go.
Come back with some
advice.
So what we can do.
Yeah. So it still has to have, we still need some more information before we can go forward with that. Thank you. Type of link.
I'd like to see, I'd like to explore that, like how much we can take on from that, because I think it's key asset in the middle of town, and
Yeah, it's a
it's
community
something that
space.
we could.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can assure you that the other green won't be available. Just in case people think, oh, we'll just go down to the Junction Green. That's not going to become commercial, viability as well. They've got 1 or 2 stalls there at the moment. They don't want it.
All right, well, we'll look forward to some more information on that. Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.
Poetry Rock at Rotatine. Has everyone had a chance to read it? Go to the links.
Go to the rock.
Oh, yes, we have some photos too. Grant very kindly popped down some pictures for it. So while we're doing that, we can keep talking. So Helen's got some suggestions which work for them, replacing the new boulders with those that match the colour of the existing Kaitiaki boulder, moving the intertidal zone sign to the left of the new boulders, and erecting a new sign behind or beside. It explains the significance of both that and Helen's poetry. That's everyone's in the photos. Thank you, Grant. Is everyone happy with to support Helen's request through the council?
No.
Right, Jonathan?
So I see that in our report, 3.14, an alternative approach might be relocating the poetry boulder, but that didn't come, that's not a suggestion, it's come from Helen.
No.
And has anyone discussed that with her? She hasn't.
Yes, I
been in
did
touch
this
with
morning.
me.
I did
Right.
this morning. That was definitely her priority because of keeping the rock where it was and replacing the rocks that we put in with exactly the same sort of stones. So take away all our dolomite rocks and replace it with the same type of coloured rock that she's already got there, so that the rock doesn't move with poem on it.
So she objects to the third rock poem being shifted.
Yeah, she wasn't very keen on that. I discussed at length that it would be probably because she thought it would be very expensive to shift the rock, and it wouldn't cost much to replace the rocks that we'd already put there. I was of the opinion, after having good look at them, and that's a really good example. I mean, the biggest thing is the distraction of the wrong coloured rocks near the grey rock. I think as a compromise, I would personally like to see the rock, just that rock with the poem on it, shifted slightly out of the way of those other rocks, but it depends on what everyone thinks about this.
But she has, she has made a suggestion about erecting a new sign behind or beside the boulder.
Can we not move?
Which would be cheaper.
Chris.
I was a little involved with this, and I can't quite remember how. So initially, Marg wrote to me, Marg Briggins, on behalf of Helen, and then I passed it on to here, and it did mention that I was involved in some way, but it might have just been as a link to Mana Whenua Ki Moro, I think. But I think, you can move the boulder. But then something else is going to happen in 5 years' time. We might need to move it again because something else doesn't fit in, or there's some other plan around. What I don't like is how roughly those bloody rocks have been placed in the access way to. This looks like the truck's been just tipped up and dumped there. But I'd really like if they were placed more nicely. But the whole thing about the boulder was that, and that boulder came from somewhere quite specific. It was a really big cost to getting that boulder from where it was to there. And the plaque's been put on the other side of it. So no one knows it's the poetry boulder. And I'm just inclined to do nothing. I think it's, if you move the blinking thing, you know, then all the foreshore eats away and we've got to move it again. Or I know that Helen's very attached to it, and it has a deep meaning to her, and perhaps some other people too. I just like those bloody rocks tidied up, you know, and we certainly aren't going to paint them to make them fit in with the boulder. My suggestion is that, you know, we accept that it affects Helen significantly, and we don't do anything. It's how it is. I mean, if anything, turn it around so people can see there's a plaque, and you might read it.
To turn the rock around. No,
She's very specific about where you stand and look out to see while you're reading the poem, because that's the point of it.
Yeah, but
so,
see, the trees have grown a lot
Right.
since it was put there, so you can't see the sea now, which is the whole problem.
All right, well, I support Chris's analysis of the situation.
It's sensitive.
Yeah, and who's going to pay for it to be moved?
Well, I don't think they but I do think that putting up a sign, a new sign behind or beside the boulder that explains the significance of both it and Helen's poetry as part of the top of the South Riders Trail.
It might be a good compromise.
But I'm not sure where the funding would come for that.
So we could go back to Helen and say that we're supportive of the new sign being erected. You will need to find funding for this, and we will support.
She could
you
apply
to
to community board for funding.
Are you able to do that? Oh, Rowan,
One of her issues too was that sign that was put up there. I think there's an issue around that. How
the intertidal zone.
Well, it has an impact on the aesthetic, I think.
Sign.
No,
Is it?
could I comment on that? That sign was actually put up, and just for the record, I had nothing to do with the rocks going there. I did, however, have something to do with that sign going up, and that went there because the ATVs were still skirting around the rocks there.
Okay.
So the point of that was to prevent that from happening.
And that's important.
Oh, so that, can I just check, Lynn? So is that middle rock between the sign and the poetry boulder, is that there to stop ATVs scooting in behind that aki?
Yeah, yes, and the sign, they were still managing to get through there, so the sign went in to prevent that from happening.
Probably took a personal challenge.
So we could explain that to Helen as well, perhaps. That was deliberately placed. It won't matter. Okay, well, we'll do that something gentle. Thanks, Ryan. Cool. The joint Sakawai request. So this came in just too late for our last board meeting. So requested that we investigate a shared pathway. Shared pathway for road and be discussed by the board at the next meeting.
It's down the road.
Yeah.
To go down the road.
Cool. Goes from is it Tangmere Road through
From the Tangmere Road and down to Nice Road. Well, that's the area that's of concern, so that people walk to Nice Road.
So you would have noted that it is included in the strategy, but with no budget, and not likely to be a budget under the current government. I'm not sure how the board would like to. We could go back and let the people know that it is part of the strategy. Encourage them to contact GB Cycleways. Is everyone comfortable with that? Is anyone put the magical?
Yeah, I'd like to see us just write to the transport department, write to Jamie and from the community board to say that there is an inquiry about this, because for transport, it's very useful for them to know what people are wanting. Yeah.
Okay.
It isn't all, I can see it's an awful place to walk along.
And to be fair, there's probably a lot of school children use their let's do that, Jamie and those people. Thank you. Jordan, welcome. Finally, sorry I missed you at the start.
Have you ever been more stimulated?
I know, it's getting exciting. It's getting exciting. Poetry. Right. So Jordan is the resource. Resource consent officer. Well, I mean, and he's here on what days? Fridays. Was it? Did you say Fridays? Everybody Mondays. Sorry. And yes, this will allow community members to make face-to-face appointments, and you will assist them with consenting issues, which is fantastic.
Right.
Come on, I've actually taken over your
You've just done a great
introduction.
job. Yeah, it's part of responding to, I guess, the call that the board and the wider community have had on us to have more of our, I guess, our regulatory services come across to Mobula. And we've managed to have an arrangement with Jordan, because you live on the top of the Taka Hill, don't you? So it's either go left or go right. So at this stage, the demand is sufficient that we think one day a week Jordan comes this way.
Fantastic.
After the remaining days, it's going the other way. But obviously, as that demand reshapes itself, there's the ability to bring them this way a little bit more often. Pretty much, the same for you either way. That's right here. So, yeah, so we've now got a resource consents presence here to go with our regulatory compliance and our building team. So
Great.
Most of the regulatory sort of elements of council have now got a foothold in the budget.
That's great.
Will we make a little media release about that sort of gets to the Tākaka side of the hill? Let people know in the bay?
If that's what the board would promote, I'm sure Row and we could work on that. Can we? There's another one of the little cards.
I could mention it. I could mention it in my board report too.
Yeah.
With the newsline.
Right from Jeff and get to Jordan.
People to know that service is
Resource
available.
consent.
Is there any scope for the future of offering $1 consents
No.
that they have done in Australia lately?
There's no money tree.
No, well, Australia have just, New South Wales have just offered $1 consents for building.
Why have we done that?
I don't know, to encourage it, I believe.
Encourage consents.
How will they book an appointment, Jordan?
Jordan will explain that.
Yeah, you can just bring up the main TDC line and they can either meeting through.
Great. I'll have your calendar. Yep. Nice.
And so you provide duty planning services as well as formal consent services.
That's right. Yeah. So anything to do with building consents or resource consent.
First hour free.
Oh, so building as well. And first hour free. So be real quick.
Great. Do we have a little sign? Do we have a little sign out there? I could go and walk out and have a look, couldn't I? But do we have a little sign out there that says services available here?
Yeah.
Could say, your roles and the other ones, and
yeah. Cool.
I don't know whether people generally know that. Newsline's a good idea, but
Calendar about meetings, where they are.
That would be for Jess, that one, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
We've still got the, I'm trying to remember her name. Stop it. Ina, yeah, so Ina's been,
she was
a
contracted,
private
wasn't she?
contractor, for, and has been, I don't know, Ina's stopped with her.
I think that might have since.
Right,
Yeah.
okay, so that's helpful.
No.
All right, so first hour free.
and Erin's role here, but that doesn't relate so much
No,
locally, does it?
As a policy planner.
I don't know whether people on this.
Well, it's part of the service that's actually here. You've got a local planner, policy planner.
Oh, good. So when will you start, Jordan?
So it's operational now.
Oh, now?
Yeah.
She's in the little room at the front. Oh, you're here today?
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
It didn't come over especially just to
Oh,
Yeah.
come on.
Oh, goodness. Oh, well, that's great.
No, not on that one.
Cool.
You've got the next one.
I'll let you now. Your turn now.
Yes. So, I mean, I know we talk or try and keep the board up to date with where the government's at with a bunch of its reports, and it's a moving feast. But last time we did talk about the fact that the government had come out with some of the, I guess, the strongest package of national direction that's within living memory. And they, and this is really about the Resource Management Act, basically, which is the acts in place, and they're tweaking that. But underneath the act, there's a whole lot of sort of national direction that then compels councils. It overrides anything we have in our plans, overrides anything we have in our consents. It's a national direction that then resets the scene. So they've come out with some proposals and across different packages. And we talked about those last time, and I just wanted to let folk know that we've, as a council, we've responded to all three of those national direction packages. We thought it was, while the topics were quite broad, there was enough in each of them that actually the district had a point or two to say. So there's a lot of councils all over the country commenting on these things, and some of the networks that we're part of, Te Reo Kaheke, you might have heard me mention, is the regional voice, so the regional council voice, and Taitū is the territorial authority voice by and large. They are the national body, so they're telling the government what they think works for councils. But if you drop down below that, there's an opportunity for each council to have an individual sort of statement about what works for it. And in this particular situation, we've got those three packages covered, probably 10 or 12, 10 to 15 pages on each of those submissions. They're staff submissions, so with council, we brought that to the attention of the committee that these consultations were happening. And the guidance was, well, it's quite a technical matter to get down and up against national direction. So they've gone out under my name, and I'll be bringing them back to the Environmental Regulatory Committee at the next meeting just to have those acknowledged, not confirmed because they're not on behalf of council, but on staff. So if anyone really wants to dig deep into, what's actually going on, the national direction is a place to do that. But at the Act level, so we're constantly changing acts. The Resource Management Act, you'll know, is up for a reset. So they're going to bin the Resource Management Act, and within a few months' time, they'll be reshaping and replacing that with the new Act. So it's not going to be the old RMA anymore. But also the government have recently come out and they've given some attention to local government. So the Local Government Act is now under scrutiny. And what the government is saying there is that it's a framework for returning local government to a sort of a distinct set of services. So the core services will be defined in the Act. And interestingly enough, the role that local government plays in regulation, which is, if it's done well, it's improving the quality of all our lives, that has now been elevated up to the front of the Act. So it's actually quite explicit that that is a function of councils to actually have resources and priority placed on setting regulatory frameworks. And that's a lot of what we end up doing, whether it's the dog control bylaws or alcohol bylaws or plans under the RMA or the Building Act arrangements. All of those things are part of the regulatory system that we all live with on a day-by-day basis. And so the Local Government Act is now elevating the status of regulation in the eyes of local government. So while some things are being sort of put back in the box and stay in your lane, there's also a broader recognition that local government serves this vital role inside our communities with its regulatory services. So quite a bit of change afoot here, and probably hard to keep track of. But rest assured that our Environmental Regulatory Committee tries to tell a story every 2 months or so that we meet. Chris is the chair of that committee. So that's a story that we've told through time. And when you start to put all those meetings together, you can see the changing landscape, down the course of a year. It's quite dramatic what's currently up in the air at the moment, and will continue to be for a little while yet.
We hope it's also coherent, but that's yet to be determined.
Yeah, that's how it all lands, how a lot of the proposals land, and how they then shape the landscape for our communities. And some stuff, at the moment, it might not look like it's ready for deployment, but by the time it gets through the process and they make decisions on it, hopefully it is. That's
As regards we're here at the community board, as regards the legislation for community boards and local government, I don't think there hasn't been any publicity about changes to that.
No.
So for this community board, we would continue to continue, because we are a creature of legislation as well, with a lot of, possibilities.
Next environmental reg meetings on 28 August. So each time that agenda comes out, Kim writes a really good piece in there about the reforms that are happening. So it's somewhere you can always just know to go to. You could read back on the last 2 or 3 and it'll really help you, understand what's happening and what they mean. Yeah.
Dog signage at Golden Bay, just a little update on that one. Any
We've got Shannon online too, if you want to discuss
comments,
it.
questions? Celia?
Yeah, so I'm just, my query is that there basically is no minimal signage gone up and for the new dog bylaw. And when Shannon was at this committee a couple of meetings ago, there was an arrangement that we were going to work together with the community board to get the signage up. But so it'd be good to hear from Shannon, but there actually isn't any signage up, essentially. I think there's a couple of things have gone up, but most places there isn't any new signage. And the one at Road to Time's wrong. We know about that.
Adjusted, isn't it?
Yeah. Sorry if I can speak to that. I don't know if you can hear me very well. The lot of the traffic light signage has gone up. I've just received an email from a member of the public says there's a couple of areas we've missed some traffic light signage, so I'll be forwarding that through to our ranger to get that erected. The road to toe sign is with the printer now to be printed and should be here by the end of the week, hopefully. So it's gone through with the amended picture. The information on the sign we believe was correct, but the picture was mildly too far south. So we've amended that.
So there's no signage at Own House Sands, but Rangihaita Beach, prohibited area, the Pattons Rocks signage. There's nothing at the vehicle entry halfway down the Pattons Rock road, and Bitter Reserve, there's no signage. Only Kaka Estuary, there's no signage for prohibited area. There's no sign at the bottom of Kendall Street, Millthorpe. So there's quite a few other places where there's no signage. So I'm not sure if anyone has been out to check about that signage. This is the signage saying that this is a controlled exercise area or a leash control or prohibited in different places. And I think I did actually email to you, Shannon, about the Parapara Beach, where if you're walking along the beach, there's no signage to tell you where to stop when you're approaching Parapara Inlet, which is a prohibited area. So just going back to that meeting where we agreed that we would work together, I think that would be a good, good way forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll follow up on the Millthorpe and Parapara because I believe I've spoken with the ranger about those, but I'll follow up on those ones. Can I have that list of other sites that you've identified don't have signage or appropriate signage?
Yeah, I can. Shall I email that through to you?
Yes, please.
All right. Okay.
Thank you. Can you see again?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so my second question to Shannon is, who is actually putting up the signage? Because in the past, apparently Nelmac have put signs up and they come up over the hill and put signs up.
Nelmac haven't put signs up over there for quite a few years. It's our rangers that do it now.
Right. Chris.
One of the things that I chaired the dog bylaw hearing along with about 100 others, it feels like. But, you know, one of the things that we reiterated over and over was that we'd love locals to be able to cast their eye over the sign designs before they were rolled out, just to pick up all these little local nuances. And that hasn't happened as far as I know. But for any of the ones that haven't gone out yet that are going to, I guess that haven't been printed, it's really helpful for locals to be able to look at them. A couple of people, probably Celia and someone else, you know, just to see that they make sense once they're on the ground, because we've had this issue in the past with signs. Don't want to be a whinger, but it was something that I certainly asked for a number of times as that chair, but also people submitting were asking for that too. I'm not sure how our system works.
Well, you get good buy-in, don't you? When people are involved and have a connection. So any other feedback for Shannon?
Yeah, just in relation to the traffic light signs, it would be just to follow on from what Chris is saying. You know, I think people respond to a picture of a dog. If it's a picture of a dog, then you know, their eye will be drawn to that. But there isn't a picture of a dog on these traffic light signs. So they're just a very small coloured sign, green, quite pale. And I think they're probably not really noticed very easily. And the other thing is when the signs go up with maps, then it's very helpful to have a mark on it saying you are here, so that people can orientate themselves to the map.
And then make sure that the you are here is right.
Yes.
Because we have had a sign where if you'd put a you are here on it, it would have been off the sign in space. You couldn't do a you are here on the map. Like these are the ones that get, you know, so that's the local eye that's needed.
Yeah, we've put a UI here on the Rototai one that's being printed at the moment, and I believe the one that you're referring to with the UI here being miles off the map, that the whole sign's been reworked so that the map is actually correct to where the location is, because I believe the map was not in the right location either.
It was Selwyn Street, I think, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Kia ora, Shannon.
Thank you, Shannon.
Kia mihi.
Tasman Resource Management Plan, just an update, it's now digital and on the council website, which is awesome. Attachments. That top one can come off the discretionary funds one. I am sorry that we did that. Oh, good, you leave it now when you're ready. Taki Village Green, ongoing, compliance. Oh yeah, that one can come off. That one keeps, yeah, the top one can go down there. The Village Green, ongoing. Action. Good. Are there any actions?
That's right.
No? What's this? I can't see the figure.
Oh, sorry, two, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So those are ongoing. That's Village Green. So I'm happy that the chair report be accepted. Move the chair report be accepted. Great, second by Celia. And I'm just aware it's down 302, and we've got probably a little bit more discussion wise. So I wonder if we have a little quick 10-minute couple break.
I'll need to toodle off. I've got a Whare Waka meeting about the Waka shed building thing, so I need to toodle off and do that.
Okay, do you need to go now?
Soonish.
If we have a 5-minute couple stop?
Yep. I probably need to leave. Yeah. No, just have your break and I'll just leave the meeting early.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I have a 10-minute break.
Yep. Sure.
Couple stop. Thanks.
Oh, yeah, that's just to do with. Except for
I see, that was what it was.
No, we need to move to 460 just
So we're gonna move on to the motion.
All right, thanks everybody. Sorry, and I forgot, we moved in second to the chair report, but I forgot to check everyone was happy, so everybody's happy?
Yep. Yeah.
So they're behaving ourselves. Consideration. So that brings us to our financial summary. Has anyone got any questions? Oh, Robert.
Another question. I just appreciate that they're no longer telling us that we need to cut back our spending.
I know.
Because, so I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it was tricky. Where would you like us to? So there's a little bit of money kicking around for the next award and what have you. So I'm happy to move that report be accepted. Do we have a seconder?
Yeah.
Seconded by Robert. All those in favour?
Yeah.
Lovely.
And just clarification, but there's the special projects 25, 26, 50, 1,000. Is that what we'll have available?
It is
Yeah.
it is available, but the new projects haven't been progressed for the new financial year.
Right, so that the current ones will come out of that.
The current ones are already allocated funding, and that's new funding
Right,
that's
so
rolled
this
over
is
to this
new
new
projects.
financial year. So this is for the new projects.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
That's available for you next when you're ready to.
Yep. So
Well,
that's
that
just
in-
yeah, it's not that's not all we can afford the current projects that have been. Okay.
That money's already coming, so it's the new financial year rolling over.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, that'll be a good, nice thing. All right, we've done discretionary funding. Scrolling. My finger. Oh, don't highlighted stuff. Oh no, that's not quicker. Special projects.
Don't think we have none.
We still have none?
We do not have.
Oh, she's gone.
I know. That must. But we can still bring up the.
Yes, please do. Where are we? I'm scrolling down. So that's just an ongoing, still getting a consultant. Great. Next project is planting tunnels. The site's been visited. We're awaiting a quote. MOU still finalised. Commercial street. Yes.
Yeah, I've been
Oh, don't stop.
I've been talking to the contractor. I think he's a bit busy over the hill at the moment. The one the guy who we ended up getting to do it. We made that decision. Ross, yeah, Ross. Got the second name. That's what Ross should be down. No, it's not. Okay.
So has he agreed to do the work?
Yeah, he has. I know he has.
But we want to meet with them and tell them what we want.
Yeah.
A fence?
Yeah, but we want to know what it's going to look like.
Okay.
I sent him a
I
photograph.
won't be around by the
of
time
an
it's
idea,
built.
and I sent him a photograph of a
He
fence
said
I
it all
saw.
class, it was good.
All of it, yeah, and you know what was really funny was that he said, "Oh, that's the photograph I took." And I thought that'd be a good fence.
Oh, funny.
At some point to build somewhere, and I've got a the exact same photograph, the exact same fence down at Punakaiki, which I thought was very yeah.
Was that the one with the individual poles?
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
But you can do it without putting each individual pole in. You still put the board along and attach the individual poles to the board rather than putting them in.
Yeah, that's
much
what I
more
was
expensive.
thinking.
But you know, just to adapt it. But that basically wouldn't be exactly the same.
Right.
The other one had a curve as well. Ours was a bit straight.
So is this something we're going to discuss at the meeting this contractor, the plan? Is it going to be at the next board meeting, or is it going to be at the new board?
Well, you said he's busy.
He's been pretty busy. He's been
So
very
how are we
busy.
going to get this done before summer?
Well, I mean, we didn't see that coming, did we? That flooding. So
No,
yes, he's involved in that. That's what he's been involved in. Yeah. So yeah, blame it on the flooding.
I'd love some action. You're really going. Very keen.
Could we? Yeah.
Well, I know Lynn was going to come back to the tunnel. Sorry.
She was going to come back.
Yeah, to this meeting, but unfortunately she probably had to go into another meeting. So maybe we can check in with her by email.
Yes.
Maybe she could email the board.
I've just got a question, and it says in here, Hall, to find out how far away the approval is. What approval is that?
I think there was the approval for the person that was working on their council approved contractor.
Yeah, that we're past that now.
We're past that
we're past
because
that.
we've got a person
Yeah.
who's already approved.
Yeah.
Yes, well, this is what we've just been updated with from Grant, but we didn't know that prior to that.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I just wanted to clarify.
So now we need Lynn to contact this person, get a date, and then come back to the board.
The guy who was wanting, just to go back there a little bit, the guy who was wanting approval, it was far from ready, and it just didn't look like it was going to happen for quite a
Well, that's fine, because
quite a while,
we'd already put it off like
Yeah,
2 or
I
3
know.
meetings.
That's why we'd made that decision last time to, if it wasn't done by a
we'd move
certain
forward.
time,
Yeah,
then we
absolutely.
move on to Ross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just now need to know when Ross can.
Yeah, and he did text me. He didn't tell me when, but he just said he's been very busy contracting with
Well, that's fine,
helping.
because if he's too busy, there are other approved filters from over the hill that we can use surely.
Okay.
No? Are there no other approved?
Yeah, but they won't come over here.
No, and the ones who are over here, we have got a couple over here.
Steve Hemrock.
We've got a couple who are approved over here, but
No, okay. I can go to Steve, but we leave that until we find out about Ross. Just stop muddying the waters, yeah. And then I will go to Steve and I'll beg if I have to. I'm at that point now. I will beg him. Alright, I'll be begging. Won't be pretty. Probably not with the begging part in the action, maybe. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, we just need to know a date. It'd be lovely.
Is the elements of the design still to be sealed on that?
Yeah.
So we should put in there, is it contractor signed up, but leave the design
Yeah, okay.
sanctioned by the board.
Yeah. Was everyone happy with that photo that Grant went through?
We haven't really had a discussion about it. It wasn't about that photo.
No, it would be nice if the contractor could come up, have some come up options as well.
Sounds like he's just going to give us that same photo from.
Well,
that's
there
where he wants to
might
build.
be other,
It might be other.
there
Might be other stuff. Okay.
Because it'll have to be it'll have to be adapted to that specific site anyway, so, yeah. Sort of with that particular site in mind, how we can fit that space.
So our next meeting, we've got a meeting before we reach.
Yeah.
We do, yeah, so shall we try and see if we can get Ross to.
Can I just say, the message I got from him was, sorry the delay in getting back to you. I've been very busy with flood work. And just asked for my, his name is Ross Jacket. Case anyone wants his surname. Jacket. With a double T.
See if he could come to our next meeting.
Yeah.
I wonder if-
We'll
The next
zoom in.
meeting's Collingwood.
Yeah, you'll zoom in.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, so you don't want to present options at that meeting?
Well, that's what I would hope for.
Yes.
That we can have a discussion with him about what he could build, what he would be.
So even if we presented options, the starting, I think.
Well, that's if you go, I mean, if you're in contact with Grant, maybe to get some of that ahead of the meeting.
Yeah.
So if you come the meeting, we could
We've got,
make, so
we've got options and settle on a design
yeah,
and move
exactly,
forward.
rather
Yeah.
than sort of
Yeah.
go away
Discussion,
again and
yeah.
take too long otherwise.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
if we can, in the next 6 weeks, maybe.
It'd be great as our last meeting, as this current board, to have a date and have it set, and every time we drive past, we can go, oh, we did that. It's like when we drove past the. Sorry.
He's going to have to get traffic management as well within all this scope as well, because it's going to go under traffic management plan to be able to have that thing. So it's quite a, it might seem a simple process, but it's a few little.
Yeah, but at least if we get a date, and we're not even a date, even if we get a design approach and it can start in January, whenever, probably not the ideal time, but
Please do. So on that note, to reach out to him or Grant to possibly or Grant to start the conversation.
Lynn should probably be engaging with him as well, too, because it's on behalf of council. So I think maybe Grant, if you have conversation with Lynn to see how she wants to proceed.
Yeah.
Okay, you can talk.
I've been talking directly with him, but yes.
But Lynn needs to be looped in.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But I haven't got his email. He has asked for my email. I sent it
Oh,
to him.
perfect.
So
Yeah,
I'm
great.
just
No, that's totally great.
I've been
Yeah,
texting.
we just need to make sure Lynn is looped in.
Yeah.
Okay.
The contact. Lynn already knows his contact details.
Brilliant. Okay. So we just need an update from Lynn as well regarding the engaging of the consultant with the playground. Yes. And hopefully the quote for the tunnel housing and the MOU will be finalised by September as well. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay.
And then I was thinking when we actually ask for proposals for the next round of projects, special projects.
I think that would be a discussion for the new board at the start of the term.
That would be good to just know.
Yeah, absolutely. So that they've got, they'll have quite a full first meeting, I would imagine, assigning portfolios and all that fun stuff. But no, absolutely, because that's a good chunk of money as well.
Yeah.
Significant project for the Bay. Oops. Oh, I got myself. All right. So that, unless there's any more questions or feedback for the special project. Okay. Do we need to accept their report? We do, don't we?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Happy to move that.
Cool. Anyone have a second it?
No.
Right. All those in favour? Lovely.
Can I just make a quick comment? The painting in the middle down here with the flowers was done by not the squiggly one, the one with the actual flowers. And
Oh, right. Sorry.
was done by Elena Cusack, who passed away sadly on passed away on Wednesday. So at the great age of 97. But yeah, so that's just I just wanted to put that out today.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
Amazing artist. Yeah, he did quite a lot.
Of Rich Walker. He was the engineer. Right.
He was
up at
he passed away a long time
he's
ago.
Richard Walker.
Yeah, she was. You know, he worked for United
I'm just going to
Nations.
pass over to.
Different person.
Just going to pass over to Kim for closing care.
Kia tātou, kia ora te marino, kia whakapapa, pounamu te moana,
Aroha atu, aroha mai, tēnā tātou, tēnā tātou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Thanks, everybody. Oh, Chris isn't here, but we can include her. I was just wondering if